Hi, I'm Laura Stewart. I'm on the board of directors of Indian River Impact 100, and we are here today with David Stiles, who's going to be sharing his story about how the Impact 100 grant given to the Florida Institute of Technology Scott Center for Autism Treatment changed his family's life. David, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Tell us how it's changed your life. Now, you have a young son with autism.
I have a 5-year-old son named Parker, and he's severely autistic. So he has a lot of impairments that will get in the way of him learning life skills and helping him to become an independent individual. And at 5 years old, he's greatly behind what a typical 5-year-old would be at in terms of language ability, in terms of life skills like self-feeding, using the bathroom by himself. But with the Scott Center here in Vero Beach, they offer behavioral therapy, which from what I've found and what most experts agree on, is the top of the line when it comes to therapy for children with autism, and it helps them develop all these skills that they're going to need. And it doesn't have a substitute in any other way. It's better than speech therapy. It's better than occupational therapy. It's just so comprehensive.
So you moved from...
We moved from Okeechobee County.
Because you weren't getting the treatments that your son really needed?
Yeah, they didn't have anything there in county that would be comparable to what Vero has right now. And it's a recent addition to Vero, actually. You know, this FIT is based out of Melbourne, and they have the satellite campus came in here to Vero because of the Impact 100 grant, and it's changed our lives, and we're so grateful for it.
Now, how has it changed your life and your son's life?
It's made so much growth in him as an individual. When he first started, about 1.5 years ago, he didn't have any words that he was able to use functionally speaking. So he could repeat and echo some words, but nothing in terms of as far as context or request or genuine communication.
Okay. And
they've been able to bring that up, and he was receiving 1 year of speech therapy before that, and the speech therapist could not develop that in him. As a matter of fact, we were concerned he might never develop speech, so he was on a picture request therapy system, which means he just grabs a picture of an item and brings that to you, and that's sort of his simple form of communication. But with the Scott Center here, they've actually got it out. They're actually bringing it out because this is what they do. This is their bread and butter, and they work with these kids every single day.
You shared a story with me when we were talking before today about how they had to break down simple everyday tasks like washing hands into 20 steps.
Yes, the washing hands, brushing teeth, where that's a typical 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. You can show that to them a couple of times and they've got it, and they can put these steps together.
Right.
But for somebody like Parker with his severe of a disability, you have to break these down to, okay, approach the sink and then turn on the water. And maybe he only masters those 2 steps for the first week. And then you add, okay, now put the hands in the water and get those wet. And then you have to teach them, and this is a hand-over-hand process. It's very intensive, and you're not going to be able to do this in a classroom setting because it needs lots of trials, lots of repetitions. He's going to error a lot, and a big part of behavioral therapy is error correction. So this is something that one therapist is working with him on, and they're taking him through these mundane tasks that we take for granted, but for him it's a real achievement to get to accomplish. And he's got the washing hands down really well, and it's amazing because he's even generalized it, which is a tough thing for autistic kids to do. So maybe if you learn with a hand pump soap dispenser,
okay,
it's very difficult for him to go and learn to an automatic soap dispenser. In order to generalize that thing, that's very difficult for him to do. And we're working on that process right now, and he's getting that.
So the Scott Center basically has made your son Parker a part of your family again and able to communicate his needs.
Yes, he's a much bigger part of the family now. It brings out his wants and his personality. As a parent, you want your child, obviously, to be able to express what it is they want because you want to be able to provide it for them.
Right.
And before that, we would just sort of see the temper tantrums and the signs that he's frustrated with something because he wants something, but he can't express to us what it is he wants. And my wife and I are running around the house grabbing items or putting the DVD on for him or bringing the iPad. Which is it? What do you want? What is it? Are you uncomfortable? Are you too cold? Are you hungry? Are you in pain? And so it's the more speech you can give him and the more communication that we can bring out in him is just so empowering, and it gives us hope and it gives us a more promising future.
It sounds really like you have freedom to be a family and not just be trying to figure out what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
So you guys can have a life again.
It does. It's so comforting to have experts be able to come in and give their opinions and because it's not something that's intuitive. You don't, even if you're a smart parent, and I think my wife and I both are, you don't necessarily know how to teach your children who are severely autistic all the skills they're going to need because of the communication barriers. Okay. It's something you really need to have an expertise in, and so while we're getting that with these therapists here, there's most of these tasks now that might have felt out of reach, and children who might only be receiving speech and occupational therapy, some of these complicated tasks might seem out of reach for a lot of parents, but we truly feel now that he can accomplish things that we never dreamed of before, that we might have thought were off the table because of how severe the disability was. Now we have, we're optimistic. Hey, who knows what he can accomplish? Who knows what he can do? So, tomorrow, we don't have any limits for him for tomorrow, and that feels really good.
That's great. Now, if the Scott Center had not been able to open here in Vero and had not received the grant, how would that have affected you and your family?
I'm not even sure he would be receiving behavioral therapy at this point, which would be, who knows where he would be at today, because it's just produced so much results in him. He's had so much growth. We would probably rely on some of the other local therapists here in Indian River County who are amazing people, and they're very talented, but they don't specialize in autism. They specialize in, some of your speech therapists works with people with impediments or all kinds of stroke victims. The Scott Center for Autism, that's what it's for, and they know exactly how the brain's wired when it comes to that disability. They know exactly how to reinforce it, how to bring it out. They've seen a lot of the difficulties that other kids have, and they're going to bring about the best results of a child that you have with autism. So me relying on other therapists here in the county without the Scott Center being down here would be a real disadvantage, and we would not be as satisfied as where we are right now.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome,
today.
and thank you very much, and thank you to the Impact 100. My wife and I thank them to ourselves every single day. It means a lot, and to reach out to the autistic community like they have done and put faith in it means so much to us, and I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, we're so grateful.
Thank you.